So that is what you can do with jewel crafting. There are other options that can be done with alchemy, specifically with transmuting. If you have access to an alchemist or you are one yourself, what works best is to be a transmutation master as an alchemist. There are three masteries: potion, elixir, and transmute. Potion and elixir are also very strong and also less common, so you can get really good tips if you do alchemy for tips, or if you just sell potions or sell elixirs and flasks in the auction house. Either of those can be really good. Transmutation Master is probably the best bet to pair with a jewel crafter, simply because if you want to increase your profits further, then transmuting gems may be up your alley. So I have, excuse me, a number of uncommon gems, and each of these uncommon gems, you can take three of them plus three of another type of flower. In particular, the Ember Topaz uses Cinder Bloom and Hessonite. Each of the colored rares takes three of the same color uncommon and three of one of the plant types that are available in Cataclysm. You can then turn it into a rare of that color. So, potential ones for this that generally sell really well are Inferno Rubies, Ember Topazes, and the Demon's Eye. Where the Transmutation Master comes along is that every once in a while, when you're creating these, you will proc an extra one. Most of the time, you'll proc one if you proc any. You can proc up to 4 extras. So you may create an Ember Topaz and suddenly you have 5 in your inventory instead of 1. Those extra 4 are, you can look at them as pure profit, or you can look at them as, oh, I can sell these for all 5 of them for slightly less and still make money while undercutting my competitors. So those are your options for upgrading the uncommons to rares. I generally don't do it with the greens, blues, and yellows because they're not worth the herbs that you have to burn in order to do the transmute. Another option, and this is my secret, are the Shadowspirit Diamonds. These are your meta gems. Yay, the bell's ringing. It's 3 o'clock. The Shadowspirit Diamonds are what are needed to cut meta gems, and these can be transmuted by alchemists. They require 3 of each gem, just like the fire orbs. However, there's no cooldown on them. So you can create as many Shadowspirit Diamonds as you have the materials for, and you can also occasionally proc extras. So I haven't had much good luck today with them. Last night I had 17 crafts and procced 12 extra Shadowspirit Diamonds. It was amazing. I had a 4 proc as well as 8 1 procs, so it was just completely awesome. I did proc 1 extra down here in the bottom right. You'll see 232. So I did get 1 extra out of it, which isn't great, but it's not terrible. So now what do you do with those? Well, the rares, of course, you cut just like you would the rares that you had gotten out of your, out of your prospecting. The meta gems, what makes these so profitable for me is that I have the special rare meta gem cuts. In, I believe it was 4.0.6, Blizzard added 3 rare metagem cuts to the game. They're random world drops. Of course, everybody and their brother scrambled for them on the auction house. There still are not nearly as many people out there that are cutting and selling them as there is demand for them, because each of these gems is best in slot for their respective DPS class. The Agile Shadow Spirit is agility based, so your rogues, your enhancement shamans, your druids, your hunters are all over this. Your burning is going to be your int based DPS classes. So your mages, your warlocks, your boomkin, your elemental shamans, and was that all of them? Oh, your shadow priests, and even discipline, I suppose. will be after the burnings. Your reverberatings are all of your plate wearing classes, your paladins, your warriors, your death knights. Those are going to be, the ones that are going to be chasing after these diamonds. All three of those are best in slots and they sell amazingly well. On a low day, 150 gold each. On a good day, I can get 300 gold each for them. Amazing gems, and they sell pretty quickly. Other options that don't require you to buy the pattern off the auction house. By the way, these patterns can average anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 gold each. I think I paid 8k for each of mine, but I got them literally right after the expansion, or they were released in the patch. Other options that are extremely popular are the austere. Every tank is using this gem. So this is a very good one. However, because every tank uses it, every jewel crafter also tends to have it. So your profits are probably going to be somewhere in the 90 to 150 gold range for sales. The effulgent is what I call a niche gem. This gem will be used by tanks that are working on progression in raids, especially heroics, but any tank that's working on Cho'Gall or Nefarian should be using this gem because it significantly reduces the amount of spell damage that is taken during the fight. Those fights are at least half magic damage, so this is a really great gem. However, not very many tanks use them. I honestly don't know why. I have one in a second helm. Uh, but the other good news is very few people have the cut. So I think there are only about 4 of us that tend to relist them often on the auction house. They don't sell often, but when they do, they sell high. Usually I get 300 to 400 gold each for these. Another extremely popular and extremely common one is the Ember Shadow Spirit. Pretty much every healer takes this gem. There is another gem that paladin healers will occasionally use simply because they don't have any mana problems that increases their critical healing. Uh, but for the most part, all of the healers are going to be using the Ember Shadow Spirit. Again, this one tends to be fairly low. I usually sell it between 90 to 150 gold. So those are options. You'll move lots of them, but you're not going to get quite as much profit as you will from the Agile, Burning, and Reverberating. I tend to cut at least one of each and keep them listed and just refresh them as needed. So those are your options for if you have access to a specifically transmute any sort of alchemist. Bribe your friends, bribe your significant other, even hire somebody in /2 and continue increasing your profits. Again, what works best for you and your server depends entirely on your market and what your auction house looks like. And I will provide a link to Excel spreadsheet in the information beneath the video where you can get assistance with figuring out what is best for your server. So that's it. I will hop over to my enchanter real quick and show you how the DEing works for. Actually, I guess I can't. I don't really have any jewelry at the moment. Oh, the last of my expiries. Oh, yay! See, these were my sales from last night. And then, of course, all of my leftovers that didn't sell. But when you send off the jewelry and the carnelian spikes to an enchanter, just disenchant them. You can have a macro that says /cast enchanting, but there is no way to do /use Alicite pendant because they each have different endings. The macro isn't quite as useful, so you will have to sit there and actually pay attention and click on each item. Thanks, Blizzard. Real nice of you. Anyhow, I hope that this was informative. If you have any questions, by all means, ask them in comments or feel free to PM me. And good luck with your gold making. Take care.